You can see not just the dry line now, but where the tyres are being loaded laterally, you're starting to see that rubber is being put down on that racing line. But as we're saying, look, that's a great shot to indicate how reluctant the water and the oil is to get away from the racing line. And it's just standing there. It's still going to be incredibly greasy if anybody goes offline. But the times are continuing to fall now. I mean, we saw Alonso putting some good times in earlier on. Alonso's now down in P13 at 16.081. Massa there, 14.869 at the top of the timetable right now.
But Alonso, as Bob said, has only done 9 laps, and I think he was very quick straight out the box when he went out. I think he's obviously pretty happy with the setup. He's just done the fastest second sector overall here on board now, coming up to the start-finish line. This will no doubt pop into the top of the charts.
There it goes. Wow. At 2/10. Alonso clinched his last 2 and only 2 world championships at this racetrack. So he knows it well. He's very confident here. I think he may feel he has something for his younger teammate in this most important race of the year.
Quite a lot of wing on the McLaren chassis, and looking at the times there, Alonso was fastest in the second sector, has now gone fastest in the first sector. Looking at the wing difference between the Ferrari F2007 chassis and the MP422 McLaren we're looking at here, significantly more wing. I think that McLaren are running around here again to help them through that sector 2, which is that tight section at the bottom of the track. We're talking about it earlier on, where it's very greasy and it's very easy to lose the car around there. Around here, this is where we're talking about. But, well, what's he doing now? Trying to give himself
he's giving himself some room behind Kovalainen, but he had a bit of a moment there going to not that last corner, but corner before that. The front end was moving around quite a bit.
There's another reason he might not want to do an awful lot of laps. Fernando Alonso is on his second race weekend with this engine. Oh, wait a minute. Today's Friday. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Check that. I'll use it tomorrow. But I should also point out he has never won at this racetrack, and that was something we always used to talk about with Alonso. He always sees the big picture. He knows when he doesn't have to win a race.
Yes, which is a picture, unfortunately, that Lewis Hamilton 2 weeks ago did not see. Duking it out there with Kimi Raikkonen when he didn't have to, knowing he's going to come in and make it. If he could have finished in the top 3 last week, he'd have been just fine.
Right, and that's something that comes with experience. So I'm saying Alonso has that knowledge and that confidence, knowing exactly what he has to do in order to achieve his goal. Robert Kubica goes to P1 of the BMW Sauber with that new helmet paint scheme this weekend. Let's go down to Peter Windsor.
Thanks, Bob. Yes, we just saw a couple of shots of Fernando's trainer with his pit board there on the pit board ready to put some signals out. What we didn't see, that next to him there are 4 or 5 other guys from other teams with their pit boards, and that's because here one of the idiosyncrasies of Interlagos is that for the teams down the far end of the pit lane, it's very difficult just here at this point here for the driver to brake, turn in and actually look at his pit signals. So Super Aguri, Spiker and a couple of other teams including Toyota have got their signalling guys up in the middle of the pit lane next to McLaren there.
Well, whatever it is, it's working, because Nick Heidfeld now goes P1. Fernando Alonso now second. Robert Kubica drops to third. The BMW Sauber's going well here.
Lewis Hamilton, who was leading the field a moment ago, now down in 7th. As everybody goes faster and faster, the track dries out. Yeah. Heidfeld's on the soft, the compound tyres.
Yeah, they're still suffering a little bit around there, but you know, that is one of the characteristics of this track. But there again, you can see the rubber lines now being put down. Where you have lateral load on the car, in the corners, the apex of the corner, you see they start to scrub some rubber off. There, right there, you see that some of the lines generating, which will give more and more grip as the weekend goes on. But yeah, it is still greasy, look.
Steering with all his might. If Heidfeld can better his own performance. Nope. But not by much. Half a second. We'll take another break and be back with more coming up on 41 minutes remaining in the second Friday practice. This is Friday practice. Bob Varsho along with David Hobbs, Steve Matchett, and Peter Windsor. Nick Heidfeld rocketing along in the BMW Sauber. That team kind of off its game in the last couple of races. They've stopped development on this car in favor of their 2008 chassis. But on these tires, the soft and super soft compound, which Bridgestone has provided on 3 previous occasions this year, the only man to score more points than Nick Heidfeld is the championship leader, Lewis Hamilton, with whom you ride for a moment.
Well, old Bob Kubica was pretty unlucky 2 weeks ago when he was leading the Chinese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton at last having to go on the super softs.
And he's just gone 18.3, fastest of the day through Sector 1. 18.5 was Alonso's time through Sector 1 last time through. 19 dead for Kubica, so 18.3 currently.
That's extremely fast, 18.3. There's the second sector coming up now.
This could be a bit of a knockout punch from Lewis Hamilton.
Doing it again. 36.9, fastest of the day, Sector 2.
Well, he's delayed it right to the end of the session to try his super soft for the first time. It's going to be interesting to see what his next lap time is, because these do have that one golden lap, and we've seen the other guys on super softs tend to go off on that. They tend to go off on the second lap.
Almost a half second quicker than his teammate.
Wow, and down into the mid-12s. Now we're getting into some really super territory. The lap record is Juan Pablo Montoya in 2004 at a 1:11.4, and don't forget, that's with another 250 horsepower and super sticky tyres when we had the tyre war between Michelin and Bridgestone. So this is on a controlled tyre with a much reduced engine power. Now what's this lap going to look like? Because this is a really good lap too. That would certainly indicate that his tyres are going off a little bit less than some of the others.
And traction control just ratcheting away.
It's a very harsh note on the McLaren, on the Mercedes engine, I should say. Different to everybody else's. You can hear the traction control on all the engines, of course, but they have a very harsh note coming
Look at that, you see he's off a second on that lap. So those tyres obviously go off big time on that second flying lap.
Headed for the pit.
Yep. And he is.
It's hard to tell. Yes, he is.
Another pit lane you want to be a bit careful coming into when it's damp.
Oh, yes. It's very uphill, right at that, just as you enter. Notice that rise. It's very difficult for the driver. He's essentially blinded to what may be happening in the pit lane ahead of him as he comes over that rise. So Lewis Hamilton on his game. 1:12.767.
Ooh, he gets it out on that painted black and white curbing there.
Well, I suppose this is another measure of the man, Lewis Hamilton. How does he come back from the disappointment of China? He's been talking a good game all this week, but it remains to be seen.
God, it must have been gut-wrenching.
Oh.
Wow.
Nakajima to fourth. I mentioned his teammate Rosberg was buried around 21st most of the day. He is now up into 8th, but Nakajima putting in a great run here.
The moment you said, while you were talking about Rosberg, he was on that flying lap and jumped himself up to 8th and 21st. But Nakajima, boy, just right out of GP2.
Yep. Where he scored a long succession of podiums, he is definitely a gifted driver.
Silverliner goes to 11th from 16th.
Nakajima may prove to be the best Japanese yet in Formula One.
He's done quite a bit of testing for Williams this year, but that is a pretty stout performance, That's a good time. 13.6 is not too shabby. I think Felipe Massa is about to put on the super soft and have a go.
Less than 4 minutes remaining.
There it is again. You know, the car's good, the car's stable right up until that section. It gets all twitchy. And it's all four, it's all four corners.